It's 2024 and we're having console versus PC debates. I truly never thought when I was like 13 that this would be something I spoke about when I was pushing 27, but here we are. So I guess let me ask you guys a question. Where do you prefer to play your games? PC, console, on a chair at a desk, or on a sofa facing a TV? Let me know, comment down below. This question stems from this comment. Now that's a lazy excuse. We in 2024, no one should be playing console. Okay. For me personally, I prefer console. I have a PC that is decently capable of playing games. When I upgraded my PC, the first thing that I played was Resident Evil 1 from 1995. My PC over there has got a 3080 Ti in it, a Ryzen 7 3700X, and 32 gigabytes of RAM, so it's just about capable of emulating the PlayStation 1. However, to me personally, nothing will ever top the convenience factor of turn console on, put disc in, pick up wireless controller, sit on sofa, play. Whenever I play on PC, there is always extra steps. There is always something to be dealing with. As a content creator, I have to be dealing with OBS in the background and things like that, and then all of a sudden there'll be some sort of encoding problem and blah, 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 blah. On top of that, I pretty frequently play older games as well, and at this point, even games that were released on like the 360 and the PS3 era don't always just work without fail on a PC. I think it might have been fixed now, but there was a time period, for example, where one of my favourite games ever, Fallout 3, just didn't work on modern Windows for some reason. I think that got fixed at some point, but I know that was a problem. No matter how you cut it, right, console gaming will always be more convenient than PC gaming. I'm not saying which one is better here, I'm not talking about the quality of either or, I'm simply saying that from the perspective of ease and simplicity, console does win out. So yeah, if that makes it lazy, then whatever. Another factor to consider is the difference in price between a PC and a console. For example, the graphics card when I bought it was £1,500. I could get 3 PlayStation 5s for the same price my graphics card cost. How much better is a 3080 Ti than whatever's in a PS5? I don't know. It certainly doesn't look 3 times as good. It just doesn't. I think we're at a bit of a point in gaming where graphics will never get dramatically much better than we're at now, because that's already been the case for generations from the past. I still think that God of War 3 on the PlayStation 3 is one of the better looking games of that era, and that is now 14, coming up to 15 years old. Games from 10 years ago are not PlayStation 2 anymore. Games from 10 years ago are Assassin's Creed Unity, Last of Us, games that have held up graphically very well. When we come out with the new console generation now, we are talking about single digits of improvement in terms of how graphics look. I will never forget when I was like 12, 13 or so, I'm not sure, and the first thing that I played on PlayStation 3, the first 2 games I played on PlayStation 3 were Assassin's Creed 1 and Cain and Lynch. And I just remember thinking, oh my god, it looks so much better than a PlayStation 2. Like the graphical upgrade from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, I don't think that'll ever happen again in my lifetime. PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, again, wasn't that huge. PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, I'd argue hasn't even really happened yet, considering how many games are released for both platforms. An interesting test here, right, and I think I have done this before with my mother, is put Tomb Raider for the PlayStation 1 next to, say, Tomb Raider Legends for PlayStation 2, next to, say, Tomb Raider from 2013 on PlayStation 3, and then Tomb Raider Shadow of the Tomb Raider for PlayStation 4. Put those next to each other, and somebody that has never played a game in their life can see the gradual increase. Granted, when you start getting to 2013's Tomb Raider on PS3 and then you go to the Shadow of the Tomb Raider on PS4, the difference at that point isn't huge, but there is still a bit of a difference. But each jump before it was absolutely mental, bonkers. The jump between PS1 to 2, 2 to 3 is a jump that we'll probably never see again. Meanwhile, if we do the equivalent thing of, say we put God of War from 2018 or whatever it was on PlayStation 4, and we put that on a screen next to God of War Ragnarok on PlayStation 5, and I then go and get my mother to try and pick which one's which, she would not be able to tell me which one was which, just from how they look alone. At the end of the day, I would always say that where you choose to play is purely preference, And it really doesn't matter what other people are doing, so long as whatever you are doing makes you happy. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care where people are playing their things. There are people that play consoles that are like 30 years old. I can't understand it. It's not for me, but I don't have to understand it. It doesn't have to be for me because it is for them, and that's what matters. Again, for me, the convenience factor of just turn it on, put a disc in, and pick up the controller and not have to worry about min-maxing settings and making sure that frames and all that sort of thing and behind-the-scenes settings. You can't deny, as a PC gamer, that sometimes things just don't go smoothly. You have to start... How many times have you edited an INI file? How many times have you had to literally go in and start typing lines of things out just to make things work the way that you wanted them to work? There's none of that on a console. The closest thing you get to that on a console is when you're playing Ark and you've got to turn off the light shafts and things like that. Granted, some games are absolutely better on PC. I completely agree with you there. For example, I can't play Max Payne on a console. Never would. Minecraft, never would. Ark and games like Ark are definitely preferably PC. Certain games are definitely better on PC, but the convenience factor and just the comfy nostalgic factor. I think that a lot of people that follow me, about 80% of the people that follow me on the YouTube, are older than I am. I'm 26 at the minute. And I would guarantee for a lot of you that that feeling of sitting down on your sofa, picking up the controller and sitting in front of the TV throws you back to a potentially better time, right? Surely. I nearly fell over just then. Also, if you guys haven't already, do subscribe. About 30 to 40% of you haven't, so if you could fix that, that'd be fantastic. I'd love a silver play button one day. On that topic of nostalgia, we got this one too. It's such nonsense when people talk about buying games that they had when they were a child. Forget nostalgia, it serves no positive purpose. Always look forward. This is some weird toxic masculinity stuff, my friend. Like that is the vibe that I get from this comment. Anybody else? Anyone that follows my content across my various different platforms knows me specifically is very much so looking towards the future. I frequently talk about like investments and S&P 500 and all that sort of thing. So that is by definition talking about the future. But I also love nostalgia, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with looking at things that have happened previously, remembering them and feeling good about it. I enjoy standing in front of my DVDs and my games and looking at things and remembering the memories that I associated with them at the time. Let's go do that right now. It won't take me long. I guarantee I'll find something and something will jump into my head. Straight away, the one that is massive and always staring at me is this Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Machine collection. So what that is it's the entirety of the What's New Scooby-Doo show. And I love Scooby-Doo. I have distinct... This entire shelf, that is all Scooby-Doo. I have very positive, fond memories of when I was at my nan's. She would go to bed and she'd leave me in her living room and I'd sit there all night on Boomerang watching old Hanna-Barbera cartoons and Scooby-Doo in particular. And just that thought, to me, is nice. Most of my positive memories from my child involve my nan in some which way, shape or form. And therefore, anytime I can look at something like that and it make me throw back to that time, it's cool. Even random stuff, right? So like, I think this is just my brain being a bit weird in terms of its ability to recall things that happened, but like, I distinctly remember the day that I got the Scooby-Doo 2 movie. That was from Asda, along with this version, you'll have to ignore this dust, along with this version of Shrek, the 2-disc special edition. I got both of those on the same day from Asda, and I remember going home watching both. I don't know why I remember that, but again, it's kind of fun to me that I do remember that. Down here, Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. I distinctly remember when me and all my like school pals, we'd all watched the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, we'd all bought the DVD, and in that came a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. It was either Waterpon, Scooby-Doo is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Sorcerer of Dark Magic, or Blue Eye Shining Dragon. I got Blue Eye Shining Dragon. That was fantastic. That is a core memory of mine. And then, again, if we just look at these random miscellaneous DVDs down here, just different things hold different memories to me. This one, Sinbad. I remember that at one point we watched this when I was in one of the various different primary schools that I went to, because we travelled around a lot when I was really, really young, and I went to about 3 or 4 different schools. And you know when you're a kid and they pull out the little projector screen and they wheel in the like little CRT TV and the VHS player underneath it, and you know it was going to be a good day. This was one of the films that I remember watching, and again, positive memories. And then what else? Let's keep going here. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This one here. Again, I've always enjoyed older stuff, and this is the 75th anniversary of Popeye. It's 2 hours of like the really old Popeye cartoon, and I've had this since whenever the hell it released. And again, nostalgia, good times. This one, Tom and Jerry and the Magic Ring. I just remember I would watch that one on repeat as well. Just it's a nice fuzzy feeling inside. And this is coming from somebody who had a bit of a shoddy childhood. So like the fact that even I, with a shoddy childhood, am I capable of like remembering things positively from that time? If somebody had a just purely good childhood, imagine how good it'd make them feel. Like, what's the problem? Why be upset at someone else's happiness? I don't get it. Here's another obscure one. When I was very young, I was pretty obsessed with Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, and this one in particular, Jackie Chan, the Young Master. This sort of thing was just stuff that I was obsessed with. So when I had the opportunity to buy this on DVD, I was like, absolutely will, because like, there's a real decent chance that like this sort of thing shaped who I became, because I spent a lot of time doing martial arts and things like that, and it was because of stuff like this. And again, it's the same thing with just about everything else that I have on the wall. So it's my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're not worth any money, but they're worth sentimental value. If we look at just the PS2 games, the majority of the PS2 games I have were actually the ones from when I was a kid, and I have memories associated with all of them. The first time that I played bowling in Tekken Tag Tournament, for example, when I was given Tekken 4 by my sister and my sister's, at the time, husband when I was a kid. Same thing goes with Devil May Cry 1. What else? Monster House, being too terrified to get through that game because for some reason it was really hard when I was a kid, and the Asda sticker from it. What else? Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was my first ever Mortal Kombat game, and I was very confused when I went from that to a normal one, and it was a 2D fighter rather than this 3D beat-em-up. Brilliant old time. Superman Shadow of Apocalypse, I remember I would just fly around on that all day, every day. Awesome. SmackDown Just Bring It, one of the only positive memories that I have with my dad. We would play the Slobber Knocker game mode, and he would pretend that I was actually playing. I didn't realise until I was older that I actually wasn't playing, and that he was fighting the PC and just put the controller in my hand, but there was that too. Star Wars Battlefront, friends would come over from school and we'd play that together. Well, no, I would go to their house and we'd play that together. It was usually after my dad was in Paris or something like that. He was a removals man. Star Wars Episode 3, same thing there. What else? Lego Star Wars the video game. The other day, I found a little blue book full of cheat codes, and in that little blue book were loads of cheat codes to unlock various different characters for Lego Star Wars. What else? Simpsons Hit and Run speaks for itself. Sonic Heroes was another one that I experienced at my sister's house. Do you see what I mean here? Like, I attach memories to so many different things that it's so easy and so fun for me to recall them. Like, I can stand here and do that for so many different games. Tell you what, in regards to the whole always look forward thing, as somebody that persistently, consistently, every day obsesses over where they're going to be in the future, having some element of nostalgia be present in my day-to-day life helps keep me sane as well. If you try to be completely productive all the time, you burn out. If you try to be completely productive all the time, you go insane. So having something there like that, it's nice. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that little trip down memory lane. And I'm sure you guys have your own things with your own different things that you can relate to. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.